let them off the ship! They let them off the ship! They let them off the ship!
They sure did let those people off the ship. Let's talk about it. So here's the timeline. The ship departed from Ushuaia, Argentina on April 1st, 2026, carrying passengers through the South Atlantic. Just days later, around April 6th, the first passenger reportedly began showing symptoms. At first, nobody realized what was happening. Then, on April 11th, the first death occurred on board. It was initially believed to be from natural causes, but as more passengers became sick throughout April, health authorities began connecting the dots. By early May, multiple cases had been confirmed. Several people were critically ill and at least 3 passengers had died. That's when the global concern escalated. The World Health Organization, along with multiple governments and disease control agencies, began racing passengers across several countries, including the United States, trying to contain the possible exposure routes. Now, it's important to understand, experts are not calling this the next COVID, but the broader public risk is still considered low. The Andes strain usually requires close contact for transmission, things like sharing living spaces, bodily fluids, or prolonged exposure. But what makes the story significant is how unusual it is. Hantavirus outbreaks are extremely rare. Human-to-human transmission is even rarer. And even seeing it emerge in an isolated environment of a cruise ship has immediately triggered international attention. As ships move towards Tenerife, Spain, investigators are still trying to determine where exposure first occurred, whether on board, during excursions in South America, or before the passengers even boarded the vessel. Y'all, I cannot believe they let these people off of the boat, especially not knowing 100% sure if people were infected or not. Allegedly, hantavirus has a 6 to 8 week incubation period, and they're putting too much faith and hope that the transmission rate will be low. Originally, they weren't even sure if the hantavirus was human-to-human transmissible, but this is the Andes strain, which is very much human-to-human transmission. Actually, out of all 38 strains, the Andes strain is the only one that's human-to-human. The video doesn't end here. Let's listen to this guy who was actually on the MV Hondius and made this public plea to be let off the ship.
I normally wouldn't make a video like this, but I feel like I need to say something, so I wrote a few things down. I am currently on board the MV Hondius, and what's happening right now is very real for all of us here. We're not just a story. We're not just headlines. We're people. People with families, with lives, with people waiting for us at home. There's a lot of uncertainty, and that's the hardest part. All we want right now is to feel safe, to have clarity, and to get home. So if you're seeing coverage about this, just remember that there are real people behind it, and that this isn't something happening somewhere far away. It's happening to us right now. I'll share more when I can, but for now, I just ask for your kindness and understanding.
They let them off the ship! Cause that bitch was on the ship crying? We're people, we're not stories. You're a bitch, you're a motherfucking story time. You just turned this to a fucking horror movie, bitch. Talk about we just want to go home to our families. You won't have no fucking family, and neither will we. What the fuck do you mean?
The authorities here have said that they've confirmed from the 2 cases that were evacuated from the ship and brought to South Africa for treatment that it is indeed the Andes strain, which is the only strain of the 38 variants that is known to be transferable between humans under, of course, very close and sustained contact. It does create a situation, health authorities have said, where they need to be sure that people who have possibly been exposed continue to observe those safety protocols, that they wear their masks, they use hand sanitizers, and that they remain in their cabins wherever necessary. This is now the people that are on the ship. And in terms of tracing those who may have come into contact with people who've taken ill, that work is also happening on the sidelines.
They let them off the ship! Oh my God!
The
World Health Organization is warning of more and more cases as the deadly hantavirus strain linked to the MV Hondius is spreading rapidly across borders. We've just seen passengers in hazmat suits being evacuated by medical planes in the Netherlands as health officials scramble to map exactly where this is heading. Experts have confirmed that the Index case, the first Dutchman who died, travelled through Argentina, Chile, and Uruguay for months in a van before boarding the ship. The leading hypothesis is that he and his wife were exposed during a birdwatching trip to a landfill in Ushuaia shortly before departure. Ushuaia has never recorded a hantavirus case in its history because it's typically too cold for the carrier mice. They believe the couple brought it to the port after being exposed somewhere else in the region or at that specific landfill site. The widow of the first victim then flew from St. Helena to Johannesburg. She was on a plane with 82 others. She became symptomatic on the flight, was removed from a connecting plane, and died in a South African hospital. Additionally, a British passenger was medically evacuated from Ascension Island to South Africa and is currently in intensive care there. But here is the major update. While we initially thought it was 23 people, we now know from ocean-wide expeditions that 29 passengers disembarked at St. Helena on April 24th. They left the ship 10 days before hantavirus was even confirmed, meaning they've been travelling off radar for 2 weeks. There have now been confirmed cases of people isolating in the UK, Germany, Switzerland, and the Netherlands. Because the incubation period is 6 weeks, the World Health Organization says we're nowhere near the end. More cases will emerge. The ship is currently sailing for Tenerife, due this Sunday, and locals are livid.
It is May 8th in the morning. A new patient has been identified positive for hantavirus, a lady who is in Spain currently. She has tested positive. Her current interaction was with the lady who was taken off the plane who ultimately died of hantavirus in South Africa. There's another patient identified by Britain who they're very concerned about. This brings to a number of 12 the individuals that have either tested positive or they are very concerned about. To be clear, we do not know how infective this is, and we do not know the case fatality rate, although case fatality rate is obviously very high. For people to extrapolate the old case fatality rate from old viral information is incorrect because this is clearly a new virus. This is not the time to panic. This is a signal. This is how CDC brought us up to level 3, the lowest level. It's time to watch and be careful. And thankfully, yes, there have been vaccines that have been made against hantavirus. We don't know how effective they will be. Hantavirus changes very, very rapidly. It is a very rapidly mutating virus like influenza and like COVID. And so what we knew about the old viruses may not be true for these viruses. So be careful of that information. Anyway, I'm Dr. Simpson. If you like this information and like the updates, give me a follow.
Debbie, you think you were infected when you went into your chicken coop for a few minutes one morning. You were just inside for a few minutes. What happened?
Honestly, it was an outbuilding. I was feeding a stray cat over the winter, and in the spring, I went and got the cat dishes out, and I was in there literally 5 minutes.
And how soon after did you start to develop symptoms and get sick?
About a week and a half.
What were your symptoms?
My first symptom was fatigue, and it was an extreme fatigue I never felt before. I literally just got done making a batch of Kahlua, homemade Kahlua, and I couldn't bottle it. And for family and friends, I could not bottle it, and I couldn't do anything. I literally took myself to the chiropractor because my neck hurt so bad. A few days later, after my fatigue, and he sent me to the hospital saying something was very seriously wrong with you. And then I'd been in and out of the ER 4 times.
4
before
times?
I literally flatlined at the hospital twice, and they airlifted me to another town and hospital where the crew on the life flight actually got me ventilated.
So you were
I
put
was
on a
acting like
ventilator.
a rabid bobcat, they said.
You were put on a ventilator after you flatlined twice in the emergency room?
Correct. By the life flight crew.
And at what point did doctors figure out that what you had was the hantavirus?
I'm assuming once I got to the other hospital in Great Falls, that when they put me in my coma, I'm assuming they must have found out during that.
So how long were you on the ventilator in this induced coma?
I'm saying it was close to 2 weeks.
Once you got better from this, and by the way, there's a it's a pretty high fatality rate from this virus. You're lucky you survived it, but you've suffered some real serious long-term damage from this virus.
During the coma, all my organs failed. My heart enlarged. My body swelled up twice the size. My husband, I guess I even had pancreatic surgery in my coma. I found out all these things later.
Yeah.
My family went through a lot.
Yeah, well, you went through a lot, and I can't imagine what it's like for you now reading that there's this outbreak of this hantavirus, having been through hell and back with the virus yourself.
Yeah, I would say hell's a good word.
They let them off the ship!
Now, something is off about this cruise ship in the Atlantic with the hantavirus outbreak, and I cannot let it go. This is the MV Hondias, an expedition cruise ship owned and operated by Oceanwide Expeditions. And the route went from Argentina through Antarctica and the South Atlantic, with stops in South Georgia and Tristan da Cunha and St. Helena, all before heading towards Cape Verde. And I'm sorry, how is it that there are 147 people on board, with 3 people dead, 7 confirmed cases of the hantavirus, and the only video we've all seen from inside the ship is one guy named Jake crying in his cabin? No, I'm sorry, I'm not buying it, okay? Because you're talking to somebody who watches a lot of cruise ship drama on TikTok. In fact, it is one of my favorite TikTok subgenres that exists, okay? I watch it all the time. And if there's one thing that I've learned from those TikTokers, it is that if someone so much as catches a stomach flu on a Carnival cruise, there are 19 TikToks, 4 Facebook Lives, and some woman named Brenda locked in a closet filming herself saying, "Please help us," like it's the frickin' Blair Witch Project. So I decided to investigate. Not a full rabbit hole because I have other investigations that require my attention right now, but what I did find was interesting. So first I went looking for the original Jake video because, like many of you, the first time I saw it was on the CBS TikTok account, which is a company owned by Larry Ellison now, but I digress. I couldn't find the original video anywhere, but luckily CBS did put in the tippy top corner of the video Jake's username on TikTok, so I went to his page to see if I could find it there. No. So I started scrolling through Jake's page and I learned that he is a Boston travel content creator and he's been to like hundreds of countries, although none of his videos have gotten like a super high amount of views, but yet he's got 5.6 million. I just noticed that's weird. Anyways, he's got sponsorship links, he's got collaborations, he's got a Yahoo email, and if you go over to TikTok Shop, he's hawking a bunch of, travel consumerism junk. And I'm scrolling through his posts and he's got this weird PR statement as one of them. Mind you, he didn't even post the video that he sent to CBS on his own account, remember? So I don't know, it's weird. But then I hit this penguin video from the trip, and it's a stunning video with a high resolution camera, and I mean, look, the sky is insane. It's clearly very beautiful. But just keep in mind what this sky looks like, okay? Because it's gonna come back later. In fact, his photos and videos are so beautiful, it is kind of hard to believe that it's not AI. No, but Michael.Elizabeth08, I'm with you. So I went to Google and searched for the name of the ship, the MV Hondias, filtered the dates to be before the outbreak became public, and went to videos to see if I had missed anything, because this is the exact kind of trip where you would normally see people posting pictures of wildlife, or videos of the sunset, or rough seas with the yo-ho sound, cabin tours, meals, anything. The only videos are from Jake Rosemarian. This is weird. And then I read about one other passenger who was quoted in BBC and AP coverage named Kazem Hato, also known online as Ibn Hatuta. Sorry if I mispronounced that. This guy. And he sent over footage over WhatsApp to AP News and BBC, and he gave them quotes specifically saying, "Actually, morale is high. People are watching movies, reading, and drinking hot drinks." 3 people are dead. And then it gets even weirder because he's posting stuff like this on his story. You can pause to read it, but the second paragraph says, "This whole situation has been blown out of proportion partly because of one person panicking on the ship whose video has been circulating on the media. While his reaction is valid, it doesn't represent the situation on board. Everyone else, 148 out of 149, has been calm. The situation is under control, and we just wish those who are sick a speedy recovery." I don't. And his videos also look cinematic, except if you'll notice, his sky is blue. His video clips around a lot, but from every which angle, it's the same blue sky. You mean to tell me that both of these content creators were there during sunset and Jake's the only one that got a video with the beautiful pink orange sky? Fools. They think we're fools. I mean, come on, you expect us to believe that after the outbreak happens and people are locked in their rooms forced to quarantine and the only two passengers from inside the ship we hear from are two travel influencers? Nope, absolutely not. As a dedicated consumer of cruise drama TikTok, I reject this whole premise. Look, maybe the cruise company told them they weren't allowed to post, maybe the Wi-Fi's bad, or maybe everybody on that cruise ship just genuinely has great self-control, in which case, good for them. But I'm just saying the silence to severity ratio is weird.
Well, you guys heard it here, so we should be on alert, even though we should not be too afraid. Luckily, we have the greatest president of all time, Donald Trump, who led us through the first pandemic so gracefully. That was all sarcasm. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and be sure to stay safe. Blessings to you and all of your loved ones.
What do you mean they let the people off the boat? Hello? They were supposed to row the boat gently the fuck away from us! Bitch, I can't do this! We cannot do this. We don't have the administration to go through another pandemic. We fucking don't. As someone born in 95, I would just like to live in precedented times. Is that too much to fucking ask?